Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the transit moon making a square opposition or in conjunct to one's natal Mars. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve the moon, it could be about emotions, feelings, needs, our responses and reactions, even the public. And when you have the transit moon basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Mars, well, this may manifest in the emotions, the feelings, our needs, our responses, reactions, the public, um, how we feel, even, may conflict with taking action. We might simply not feel like taking action at this point in time. Say if Mars is in Libra in your natal chart, it might be matters connected with negotiation, compromise, or some litigation or lawsuit. Um, the thing is, because the moon is about our emotions and how we feel. And the thing about this is, keep in mind, this transit does not last very long. It only lasts about 10 hours, roughly. Um, you're going to have, if you're using a 5 degree orb for this, you're talking about well, as 3 degree applying, um, you know, 3 degrees applying and 2 degrees of separation. So, and then the moon moves about 1 degree every 2 hours. So 5 degrees is about 10. It's about 10 hours. So anyway, it's not an overly significant transit. In many instances, this will happen during your sleep, or at least part of the time you're sleeping, because you're talking about 10 hours, and that's almost half the day. The thing about this too, another way this may manifest, this could also be about where we don't feel as motivated or driven to do things at this time. If it's Mars and Capricorn, it could be matters with responsibilities or something with our career or say we're accounting. It can be some situation too where we don't. The moon is about our reactions and responses. Mars is about leadership. We may not, even if somebody's encouraging us at this time to be more of a leader, not be a follower, not be sheep. It might be a time where we just don't want to react that way. We don't want to react where we would want to be, take the lead in a situation, or even difficulty responding in an aggressive manner to something. Or sometimes this could actually be rather angry, acrimonious responses, because your mood might be such, or you might not, or your responses, because you're having the transit moon basically making an adverse aspect to natal Mars. Natal Mars, of course, is a planet of anger and acrimony. You might be responding to things a little angrier than maybe what you need to. Or it might be more difficult to express anger at this time over a situation, because of course, it's conflicting energy. But another thing too is, remember that Mars is also about initiative and enterprise. So it might be more of a difficult time getting yourself emotionally charged to actually initiate or start something at this time. It might be a time where you might procrastinate on it for a little bit. And the thing about this is, it may actually be better if you can wait until the transit ends before, if you're going to start something or taking action in a situation, because if your mood, your temperament, is such where you're not really up to doing so, you're not going to do something well if you don't really feel like it. It's only if it's something more compulsory or mandatory, if you have to do it, then that's a different story, of course. Now, Mars is also connected with violence. So you have to be careful with this transit that you don't, react to, strongly on an emotional level, where these emotions become overly violent. And the thing about this too is that if you look at Mars is also connected with the sexual drive. And the thing is, you might not be up, sexually at this time. You might be feeling, just it could be the situation where you're not necessarily in the mood to do, as far as sexually goes. Um, the thing is, if you look at this transit as well, it's also, remember that the moon is connecting with our home, our family, people you're close to home with. And it can be a situation where these one or more of these people may be doing something which might be draining you of any kind of your energy, your drive, your motivation at this time. Maybe they're being, oh, say if the moon is in Capricorn, it might be something where they're being overly negative or pessimistic, and it might be maybe curtailing your enthusiasm to some degree. Mars, anatomically speaking, is connected with the head, the skull, the face. It's also physical injuries in general. It could be cuts, contusions. Um, and The thing about this is that when you look at this transit, just you might be where things might, if you have any problems at this time that are connected with the head, the skull, the face, if there's any injuries with them, or there's any rashes on the face as an example, or you're dealing with injuries in general, it might be a time where you might be more sensitive to that, and they might bother you more emotionally, more so than usual at this time. And remember, Mars again is connected with our energy and vitality. So it can be a situation where there might be, maybe you don't quite have the energy and vitality to do things that are connected with the public or the home, the family, introverted tasks, things that you're doing in your home. These things you might not be up for at this point in time to really do, whether they have to be done at that moment or not. Now, Mars is also about courage and confrontation. And it can be a situation where you might be, maybe there's a little more difficulty in mustering up the courage to do something. It can be, a situation where it might be harder to respond to something with courage at this time. You might be feeling more passive, and you might not even feel like confronting somebody or at this time regarding a situation. Say again, going back to say Mars and Capricorn, it could be some business that maybe you need to contact, and it's something where maybe you might have put off, procrastinated on for some time. But the thing is that it could also be at times, this could indicate sometimes squabbles with home, family members, people you're close to home with. It could be prominent women in your life scheme. It could even be the public in some cases. Again, Mars is associated with enthusiasm, so you might not really be feeling overly exuberant or enthusiastic about tackling certain tasks at this time, or taking certain action on something. And also be careful not to act overly impulsive or impetuous at this time, just because maybe you're hurt over a situation or something that, again, it might be imperative to let the transit pass until you react to certain things at this time, because there's a greater propensity to react on a more emotional level, an angry level at this time, more so than usual. um, Mars is also about surgery. um, and I mean, this is a very short transit, and generally I don't see this as manifesting really anything with surgery, but Mars is connected with that. If there is if something that needs some kind of surgical repair at this time, it might be something that you might put off uh, for a little bit. Remember, the moon is about our past as well, and maybe something could be happening with the past that might be that you're thinking about, might be something negative that might be making you hold off on the surgery for some time, whether it was something that might have put you in some monetary hold, or whatever it might have been, or a surgical procedure that didn't quite live up to your standards. But anyway, though, I'd say that's very rare and isolated. But next thing, another way this could manifest and pan out could be a mother or family member may have an adverse effect on your energy, your vitality at this time, and also taking action in matters. Now, let's say if this is, you're talking about if Scorpio is involved, it can be, say, Mars is in Scorpio. Maybe it's something um, with insurance action connected with insurance or taxes, or making a major transformation in your life. Sometimes this could be expressed in past memories, which is connected with the moon, may affect your drive, your motivation at this time having the incentive to do something. Hold on a moment, people. Now, the thing about this too is, say if it's Gemini and Sagittarius involved, it could be maybe some theft in the past, which is, which is the Gemini could be connected with theft. The moon is associated with the past, might affect your motivation, which is Mars, in traveling abroad and even higher education, which of course is connected with Sagittarius. Now, you also may not feel like doing things that just simply expend energy. Say, if your natal Mars is in Aries, as an example, it could be some kind of combat sports, maybe it's arson investigation, something that might require some kind of courage or confrontation. Um, Maybe something with welding could be another Aries example. Now, another thing too is that there may be greater propensity toward accidents due to being overly emotionally charged at this time. Say, for example, if the transit moon is in Pisces, it might be maybe overly chaotic emotions and being, overly sensitive. Maybe leads to some kind of, like it could just simply be, walking into something, in your home or tripping over an item. Um, Now, the thing is, and if it's in the transit moon is in Scorpio, it could be very convoluted and intense emotions. Now, you might also be more sensitive at this time, which is sensitivity, of course, associated with the moon, to a physical injury, reiterating what I was stating earlier. Now, say if your natal Mars is in Aquarius, it might be something connected with the ankles, the shins, the lower legs, the calves. Uh, it could be something with the nerves, or even, might be something with circulation. Excuse me. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.